Hello, my senior students and friends. Welcome to your first online tutorial of English. Now, in our first 2 weeks of Uno E, we are looking at different tenses. We checked the 12 different tenses very briefly in one of our first week's classes, but here is a little review of how and when to use them. We'll start in part 1 with simple tenses and continuous tenses. Our end in mind is to be able to recognize how and when to use the different tenses. So let's start with the simplest one we have, present simple. We use this to show repetition, habit, or generalization. The things to remember with this tense is that the simple present is just the base form of the verb. Questions are made with do and negative forms are made with do not. We can use a contraction to write don't. In the third person singular, we add s or es to the end of our verbs. The questions in third person singular are made with does, and the negative form is made with does not. Let's have a look then at past simple, also known as simple past. It is used to show that a completed action took place at a specific time in the past. It can also be used to talk about past habits and generalizations. Things to remember when using this tense are that when we use an auxiliary verb, such as did, your main verb does not go into past simple. I didn't have anything to eat. So your first verb in an idea is written in simple past. Any other verbs that are used before a conjunction, cohesive device, or comma are written in their base form. I wanted to try the food at the new restaurant, but I didn't have time. You can see here that the verb try is written in its simple base form. I wanted to try the food at the new restaurant. But here works as our conjunction, so we move back into simple past. But I didn't have time. And the final simple tense that we have is future simple. Here we can use will to express a voluntary action, a prediction, or a promise. We can also use be going to express a plan or as well a prediction. Things to remember. In the simple future, it is not always clear which use the speaker has in mind, so often there is more than one way to interpret a sentence's meaning. Third person has no effect on the verbs in future tenses. Let's move on to continuous tenses, and we'll start with present continuous. Present continuous is used to show that an ongoing action is happening now, either at the moment of speech or now in a larger sense. It can also be used to talk about the very near future. Things to remember about this tense. The present continuous is formed using the verb to be, am, is, or are, plus the present participle, which is the ing ending. In English, now can mean this second, today, this month, this year, this century, etc. Sometimes we say that we are in the process of doing a longer action, which is in progress. However, we might not be doing that at this exact second. For example, you would say, I am studying at Edmund Hillary College. However, you are not actually in the college studying at this very second. Moving on to past continuous. Past continuous is used to show that an ongoing past action was happening at a specific moment of interruption, or that two ongoing actions were happening at the same time. Things to remember here are the interrupting action is usually a shorter action in the simple past. This can be a real interruption or just an interruption in time. When you talk about things in the past, when is most often followed by the verb tense simple past, whereas while is usually followed by past continuous. And the final tense that we're going to look at today is future continuous. This is used to indicate that something will occur in the future and continue for an expected length of time. Things to remember. It is formed using the construction will plus be plus the present participle, the root verb with ing. It is possible to use here will or be going to create the future continuous with little difference in meaning. It is a little bit different to future simple, where the will and be going to do have different meanings. In the future continuous, a specific time interrupts the action. For example, at 6 p.m. I will be eating my dinner. So that is a recap of 6 of the tenses we use in the English language. Join us next week for part 2, where we look at the perfect and perfect continuous. Bye bye guys, see you in class.